All right, Brent Fikowski here, checking in. Final day recap. It's been 24 hours now, but this is the recap of the final day of competition at the Dubai CrossFit Championship. I'm going to kind of roll through it without any spoilers in case you've been haven't been paying attention. So, starting on Saturday morning, the last day of the competition, we had, I believe, 7 events. So we had 700 points up for grabs. And in the morning, we woke up and I think I was sitting in second place, but really 1 through 5th were all quite close. Roman was in first. I think Vellner was in third or fourth. Bjorgvin was right up there too. And Lazar Dushik and Jason Smith were all kind of in the mix, all up there, all really quite close in points. So we woke up Saturday morning. All we knew was we had a briefing at 11 or 12, and we didn't know any of the workouts yet. We didn't know how many workouts. So went to the briefing, and immediately they started the briefing, and they sort of just rattled off this workout. So he's like, all right, first workout, a bunch of movements we've seen before, kind of uncommon. It's sort of like this historic thing we've done at Dubai. So anyway, we've got 25 parallel handstand push-up, 25 V push-ups, 25 deck squat, 25 A jump squats, 25 reverse grip pull-ups, and 25 devil press run to the finish line. You just rattle it off, and we're all like, wait, what? It's one thing if you say deadlift and chest to bar and ring muscle up, but there are all these movements we're not familiar with. Everyone's trying to write it down. So we were like, someone's like, you're going to need to say that like 3 more times. So he rolls through it, and basically it's 25 reps, 6 stations, sort of chipper, and you never go back. And it's all these movements, I don't think I've ever really done any of them in a competition before, except for maybe 2 of them. So interesting workout, sort of some very like dynamic, explosive movements that were going to be performed under fatigue. It was going to take, 10 minutes or 13 minutes or so to finish this workout. And that was interesting. So, in the warm-up area, everyone's, trying to figure it out, and, someone might figure out a little strategy and try not to show someone else, or, watching the prior heats, like, what does this look like? How fast are they doing this? How are they holding the dumbbells? How are they holding the kettlebell? I'll get you guys to go back and watch it. I could explain it for like 5 minutes, but we're going out there and we're all just kind of like, well, I guess you kind of just attack each set of 25, like pretty aggressively, get them done quick, move on to the next set, and then just deal with that set. Obviously, within reason, you don't want to go to extreme failure on each set, but you need to be pretty close. And then not really sure how it's going to hit you as far as like how tired you're going to be or what's going to fatigue first. You just have to kind of work things out on the fly. And I've been working a lot on my handstand push-ups like I have been every year. So started off with 25 parallel kipping, really deep deficit handstand push-ups, and I got through those nice and quick. Kind of corner my eye. I think I saw Vellner fail his 24th rep, which was kind of a little like, it was good because, we're fighting for points, and I could see that I was going to get off the handstand push-ups about the same time as him, and maybe even quicker than Roman. Immediately started the push-ups and was sort of listening to my judge, making sure I didn't get any no reps, but trying to find a way to make this very explosive, kind of sexy movement unexplosive and not sexy, by just trying to, relax and find a way to move through it aerobically without exploding and, jacking my heart rate up. I mean, if I did 5 or 10 of them for an Instagram video, they'd look a lot different than they did out there doing 25 in the middle of a 12-minute workout. So found a way to kind of move through those in a relaxed fashion, which I think was a huge part of the workout for me, was figuring that out on the fly, where some other people were trying to do them a little more dynamically. And then moved on to these deck squats, and, Roman was next to me, and he seemed to be moving at a good pace, and I thought, he's not going to put it down, so I'm not going to put it down either. And I think a lot of other athletes put the kettlebell down and took a break, and I just chose not to, which I think saved me some time, and just kept finding a rhythm. Still got a couple, got off rhythm and sort of gave myself some no reps because I just completely lost tempo, but was able to figure out a good little tempo that I could just keep rolling away at as long as I stayed focused. And then next up was these dumbbell jumping squats, which were pretty brutal. I think the most I did in a row was 6, mostly sets of 5, and just tried to chip away at them, tried to move fast, rest quick, move fast, and a few other people were moving slower with bigger sets and then really frying themselves. So I made up some ground there, and that's where I was, for the first time in the workout, got a lead. And so I finished those first and really tried to rush back to that pull-up bar. And we had to do pull-ups, chest to bars, but our fists had to be facing out instead of normal grip, which was awkward. And I was a little scared about, maybe hurting a bicep, but I was able to do them butterfly. It felt pretty awkward and kind of ugly, but got them done again, sets of 5s, but quick breaks. A few other people did larger sets, but, had larger breaks. And, got there just before Vellner and just tried to stay a few reps ahead of him. And Roman kind of fell behind pace a little bit during that. And so, at this point in the workout, it was really mostly because I could tell by the announcer it was us three. It was the three of us that were very much in the race for the lead in that workout. So I was listening to the announcer, listening to the judges, kind of watching them out of the corner of my eye and just really just trying to stay ahead of them, knowing that I'd get to these devil's press. And if I could just get a couple rep lead, I knew I could hold it because it would be really, really hard to sneak up on me in that. It's one thing to do it in like burpee box jump overs or, double unders, maybe thrusters. But with devil's press, it's such a slow movement. I knew that those 25 reps would take, upwards of 3 minutes. So I could just kind of keep an eye on them once I got there. So rushed to those devil's press, busted out 2. And those 25 devil's press is probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do at the end of an event. And, I got a few reps ahead of Vellner, 2 or 3, and then just basically just tried to go synchro with Vellner so that I just stayed those 2 reps ahead, and it was awful. And, kind of got a little sloppy, and I was just trying not to stop. It was so painful. Your grip was just exploding from all those chest to bars and holding onto the dumbbells, holding onto the kettlebells, all that pressing. Yeah, your forearms were blown up, but barely got to the finish line and then just kind of collapsed and caught my breath. And I finished, and I won the event, which is awesome. So I got some points, and then the time cap hadn't finished yet. People were still working out. And I'm like, they're going to want an interview with me and I want to get out of here. So I kind of just snuck out real quick and just, went straight to an assault bike and started cooling down and flushing my arms, getting a little massage because I needed that extra 5 minutes to cool down. I didn't want to just stand around and wait to do an interview. So Nikki gave me a hard time about that later. And then, was able to get back to the hotel real quick, cool down a bit more, just kind of calm down, get back out there. And then the other event, again, was announced in the morning. And it was the named workout Daughter, which was announced at Reykjavik CrossFit Championship last year in Iceland. Sort of a homage to all the females from Iceland that have been killing it in the sport these last few years. And the workout was a combination of bar muscle-ups and cycling a pretty heavy barbell. So for the men, it's 220 pounds or 100 kilos. Women, I think it's 80 kilo. So I knew this would be a really good workout for Vellner. He's he's good at bar muscle-ups, and I wasn't sure how he'd handle the hang cleans and the push jerks, but if he could handle those, I knew it'd be a good workout for him. But I thought other than him, maybe Bjorgvin, maybe a few other guys. I was at this point in the competition, I sort of definitely thinking about what I need to do, within my own lane to be competitive. But as the weekend draws along, the points separation kind of starts to happen and you have to start playing games and, sort of pay attention to what everyone else is doing a little bit more. At least that's what I've found these last few years makes sense. And it's hard to know exactly what you're capable of in these later days because of how tired you are. So you're really playing a game of points. And you still really have to listen to your body and make smart decisions on the floor. And so it's more like you sort of have this strategy at the beginning of the workout that is suitable for your own abilities. And then about halfway through is when you sort of start paying attention to the other athletes. But while you're doing your strategy, you still need to pay attention to everyone else because maybe they're doing a technique that you haven't thought of, or maybe you're getting too far ahead or too far behind and you have to alter your strategy if you want to get some points. So anyway, started the workout with an unbroken set of bar muscle-ups, and my weight belt flew off because I didn't tighten it right. And so as I came down off the bar muscle-ups, I had to grab my weight belt off the floor and strap it up before the deadlifts. In hindsight, I should have just left it on the floor. And then in hindsight, I should have obviously strapped it better. That was a mistake that cost me a couple seconds I didn't need to use as rest. But, got a couple reps behind there. And then next set of bar muscle-ups I think was unbroken, which is good for me, something I've been working on. So I was able to do 12 and 9 unbroken. Hang cleans went well, but Vellner was able to do it in 2 sets and I did it in 3. In hindsight, I should have tried to do it in 2, but I didn't. And he got some ground there, and then his bar muscle-ups, he did unbroken in the next set and I did not. I did break him up 4-2. And then I got to the barbell to do the 9 push jerks to finish. He was already a couple reps in, picked up mine, started getting mine done. I thought I might be able to catch him because I'm quite good at push jerks. But he held on, which was super impressive. He did his 9 unbroken pretty quickly, and I was starting to get tired. I think I finished 6, and I thought, oh man, I should put this down. But Brent, you can't put this down. This is like the end. You have to try. And I was able to get the last 3 and run to the finish. And later I was talking to Tola, who's super good at push jerks. He won the clean and jerk. And he said, oh man, I saw both of you grab the bar and I was running from the bar muscle up. I'm like, they'll break. He goes, they'll break. I can catch them. And so we were lucky that we didn't break, because if we did, Tola would have been there. And then right behind him was a number of other athletes right around his time. Unfortunately, as I crossed the finish line, kind of looking back, and I briefly saw Jason Smith, he picked up the bar and did 1 or 2 push jerks, and on the third one, he just lost his balance and kind of maybe got a little lightheaded, and the barbell dropped on his leg. You hate to see it. I think he's fine long term, but short term, it meant that he couldn't really finish the competition. He had like a really, really bad bruise in his quad. So he's able to start the next workout, but he couldn't do any thrusters to finish it. So that was really unfortunate, because Jason was having a great weekend, and even with, basically 0 points in the final event, he still, I think, finished 7th or 8th overall. So a testament to his fitness, even as a masters athlete, an old man. He crushed it. So in that workout, Vellner and I finished 1-2, and so, today we've been joking. He's like, I was trying to make ground on you and Roman all weekend after he had a little bit of a slow start. And he said it's hard because every time he'd have a big finish like he did there, I was right behind him. And I laughed and I said, that was the 2016 game for me. 2016 games going into the final day, he was ahead of me by a couple points. And every time I made a move, it seemed in those last 2 days, those last 6, 7 events, I would make a move, I'd win an event, I'd look behind me and he'd come third or he'd come second. I'm like, dang, I needed him to come last. And then, I'd have a good finish 5th, but he'd be 4th and so on. And so it was kind of the same for him with that event. He crushes this event, gets a first place finish, dominates, and then I'm behind him by, 7 seconds. So that was what I needed to do. I was super stoked with that, getting a 2nd place finish in a barbell cycling and, bar muscle up workout. Those are things, I've been working on. So that was really cool. And, cool experience in the stadium. Again, pretty painful, pretty grippy, pretty shoulder intensive, just overall a lot of pain, but a good fun workout. And then they sort of announced the other one. We were just sort of in the warm-up area, and we heard they announced it in the stadium to the fans. It was a 2-part workout, so the total of the weekend there was 1,011 or 11 events, so 1,100 points up for grabs. So it was a 2-part workout where you had to start with 60 cal on the bike, 60 toe to bar. That was a scored event, and if you won that, you won extra money, like $10,000. And then right into that, you had another scored event that was the total time to finish, those movements and a bunch of burpees and thrusters. So I wasn't too worried about winning the first event. I was really focused on winning the overall competition, trying to get first or, at least stay on the podium and let someone else try and fight for that 10 grand. I mean, if it happened within my strategy, then that would be great. But definitely, I didn't want to get too distracted by that new prize purse to distract me from the big goal of winning. And so going into that last workout, I usually don't really take a good hard look at the leaderboard. I kind of get an idea for who's doing well so I can keep an eye on them. But at that point, I checked, and I knew that Vellner was about 21 points behind me and Roman was 31 points behind me. So that's really close, especially with 200 points left. So, it took me a while to figure out what my strategy was, talk to some people who did the event just before me, some of the men and women. And the plan was basically to try to get off the bike just kind of between Roman and Vellner, hopefully before Vellner and probably a little after Roman because he's so good on the machines. And then, but I was hoping that my toe to bar might be a little better than Roman's, and then my toe to bar probably wouldn't be as good as Vellner, so I need a little bit of a lead, and I'd probably get off at about 2 minutes 30. Sure enough, I did that. It was obviously painful. And then immediately got into my toes to bar, and the kind of hard part for me is when I do toes to bar in those big sets, I tend to break them up. So did these really short, fast sets of 8, sets of 6, and just quick break, no chalk, up, up, up. Whereas I knew Vellner and Roman would start with a big unbroken set, maybe 20 or 30, and then break into those smaller sets. So a little bit of a mind play for me where it's hard hearing them, get those reps on me. I could hear the judge calling out those reps while I'm doing my reps and kind of losing ground, but had to trust that maybe they'd fall off. And sure enough, they did. And I was able to, I knew it would be important to beat Vellner in at least one of these workouts. And I could hear his judge and my judge, and we were so close. I said, Brent, you got to try to dig in here hold on for a couple reps and try to beat him here. So you get a 5-point lead, which means 27 points. So in this next workout, whatever happens, as long as you're close, you're well within range, you're just going to win. So I barely beat him by like a rep on those 60 toes to bar, and was pretty spent, and then got started on the burpees and thrusters, and pretty quickly into it, my calves were pretty tight. It was tough for me to jump, so I did the step over, which was slower than Vellner, and then the thrusters were just heavy. I could hear, the cycle rate of the other guys was just a little faster than mine. They were behind me, so they could also see me on the thruster. I couldn't see them. I could just hear them. And both Roman and Vellner got this bit of a lead on me, and I kept trying to push my pace a little faster on my rest and my burpees. And every time I tried, I could feel my heart rate kind of jack up, and my shoulders get tired, my quads get tired. And I'm like, Brent, you keep doing this, the thrusters are going to, give out on you. And right now, no one else is in the mix with you guys, and you have way faster times in the other heats. So just stay right behind them, kind of run your own race here. As much as I'd love to finish the weekend on a win and run across the finish line, I had to be realistic. And I think if I would have chased that, things might have went really awry. So had to kind of concede, unfortunately, as much as, I want to keep pushing. It was not within my abilities that day. So kept pushing hard, finished strong, but just behind Roman and then Vellner, and then I came in. But I knew with the way the points worked out that I was gonna win. So yeah, won the weekend. Won the Dubai CrossFit Championship and punched my ticket to the CrossFit Games. Got a gold medal, and that night, just ate a lot of food, and actually not that much food because I'd eaten so much already that day. But yeah, this video is really long, so I'm just going to wrap it up real quick. I'll probably post something on Instagram that's a little more insightful. But yeah, it was just really satisfying to finish the weekend in first. But honestly, it was kind of funny. After the competition, I had a little interview with Tommy Marquez, Morning Chalk Up, and he said, "Oh, is there a turning point for you in the weekend where you felt like things were going well and you might win or whatever?" And I said, honestly, the first event, going into the first event and finishing that first swim event, I just felt like myself. I felt ready to compete. I felt excited. I felt fit. I felt in very good shape. I felt strong, and I just knew that, I was like, I just got to keep this feeling alive. And if I do that, I'm going to have a really fun weekend. And, I'll probably finish in that top mix of guys, in that top heat, in that top 5, that top 3. And, that placing would be more than enough for me from a vanity standpoint. And really after that, it was about me just enjoying it and let the results speak for themselves, and I'd end up where I belonged. And I was able to do that. I had a really, really good time competing, and there's these little moments in each event. I've detailed a lot of them in these wrap-ups, but there's these little moments in each event that have just, all hold close to me, and that's why I do it. And then the feeling of kind of gratification and, with hanging out with my wife after, and us just enjoying each other's company, and thanking her and thanking my coach from Brute Strength, and enjoying some time with, Vellner, getting to experience Dubai the next day and relax and laugh. It's those things that make it all worth it, because I work really hard all year. There's a lot of things that go into it that I don't post on Instagram and don't talk about too much, but it's a daily thing. And, there's a million little pieces of preparation that go into this, and you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your preparation. So, everyone had the goal of winning, and I obviously wanted to win, but I just tried to become very, 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 very prepared. And this, it's nice when a plan comes together, and try to really enjoy these, today, and I'm going to try and enjoy the next few days, because I've been competing, in sports my whole life, and, winning a big event like this, I know it doesn't come along often. I wish it came along every weekend, but I guess if it didn't, it would be special. But they don't come along often. They just don't. And, learn to really just try to celebrate and relax, and just be genuinely proud and happy and joyful that, this happened, and learn from it, grow from it, and start making a list of what I need to work on next. So that's a long video. Okay, that's it. Brent out. Later.